Hello, I'm Abby. Let's talk about digital sovereignty. Oh no.
What is digital sovereignty?
Digital sovereignty is where you have control over your digital life. The thing is, a lot of people do not have control over their digital life because they're using services that they don't really have control over. Why? Well, mainly because of cost and convenience, and I'm not just talking about your Google Drive account. We're talking businesses, governments, charities, organisations and the like. This is a problem because sometimes companies might use your very private data to train an AI, thus making it not so private anymore. Or they might remove one of your favourite songs or a game that you bought, or even just straight up manipulate things that you own or have made with your own bare hands. This isn't just an issue for Joe Public, but it's an issue for Guy Businessman or the Right Honourable Baroness von Claptrap MP. That's my drag name, by the way.
Politics.
I don't like politics right now. I try to keep things as apolitical as possible because I don't like flame wars. But yeah, we're going to have to touch on that now. Shit's getting scary worldwide. In America, we have Trump, who's getting more and more authoritarian every day, collecting data to go after minorities, political opponents, and speech he doesn't like, or that goes against his ideology, what he calls woke. In the UK, we have the Online Safety Act, which is a spook stream and a wonderland for data brokers. If you want to look at something compromising or controversial, you now have to identify yourself to a private company, who can now use that data to sell off to either the government or various companies, so they can screw you 6 ways from sideways. God help us if Yoti ever gets hacked. You now have to give your ID to Yoti if you want to listen to songs like Frank Zappa's classic song, Why Does It Hurt When I Pee? It is my God-given right to listen to songs about someone's UTI. In the EU, we have the Chat Control Bill, which they say will be used to scan your chats for CSAM, but in reality will be used to go after people for other reasons. Because, you know, scanning every single message before it can be received is genuinely some 1984 shit. And even in the private sector, we have organisations like Collective Shout using payment processors to ban things they do not like. It started out with Gunnar Gaming, but now we're seeing normal, regular content being targeted because it contains things that some people don't like, such as gay people and swearing. Shit you thought that was yours on Steam can be snatched away because the store, payment processor, government, or even the creator themselves don't want you to have it anymore. So, let's talk about digital sovereignty.
Digital sovereignty and you.
Here's some general rules. First, the cloud means someone else's computer. Is cloud storage useful? Yes, very much so, but you need to remember that it is someone else's computer. They might say, we won't look at or mess with your shit, but they could very well be lying or have something hidden away in the TOS. Your Google Drive, iCloud or whatever isn't fully secure. Remember that. On top of that, lots of governments might want to access your shit, like the UK government demanding that Apple put a backdoor in their encryption, which you know would make any encryption on iCloud functionally pointless. The best place for your files is on a hard drive that you own and isn't connected to the internet. But if you do need a cloud thing, self-host that thing. A Raspberry Pi or an old laptop running Nextcloud is hella better than G Drive or iCloud. Or hell, can't do that? Proton or something secure like that is very useful. Hashtag not sponsored. Secondly, offline files are best. Seriously, sites that let you buy actual MP3s or FLACs or MP4s and lets you download them and store them on your hard drive is 1,000,000,001 times better than having everything on a streaming service. Remember how streaming services like HBO or Netflix constantly takes down shows and gives you no legal ways to watch them? Yeah. Also, if you can't acquire them legally, be it as a digital download or a piece of physical media, you can always acquire it through completely legal means. Wanna stop acquisition by completely legal means? Let us watch what we want, fuckwads. Seriously, get actual files and store them on an external hard drive. An external hard drive or two are some of the best investments you can make digitally. Get a media player app to play your music and shit. VLC is my recommendation, but I use this obscure Linux terminal app called Q and run it on a Cyberpunk style terminal emulator because I'm cool like that. Kodi is also a great way to play local files if you want something shinier, and Kodi has the ability to stream to other Kodi devices on the same network if you want that kind of thing. On top of that, you might need to think about your operating systems and software. If you're not on Linux or BSD, why would you use BSD though? Your operating system is spying on you. Windows is the worst culprit with their recall feature, taking a screenshot every couple of seconds and sending off to the cloud for processing. It's so egregious that it's one of the many reasons why people are making the switch to Linux. So we have Windows to thank for the year of the Linux desktop. Thanks Microsoft, I guess. But even if you can't switch and are doing okay with locking down your computer, even your software is doing shit. Adobe is literally taking your work and using it for AI training. Yes, your work, but you might be doing under an NDA. Shit you are making. Fuck that noise. There are now lots of open source alternatives that are good or even better. Go use them. Same with Microsoft Office. The enshittification is real.
Digital sovereignty and organizations.
You know who uses computers? Businesses, charities and governments. The fact that they're using software that can be messed around with by governments or corporations is a major issue. Amnesty International should not have to worry about Microsoft taking their private emails under orders from ICE in regards to them kidnapping random brown people off the street. In the EU, there is a movement to move away from Microsoft products to open source and self-hosted solutions because having an American company whose CEO was at the inauguration of a president who wants to take parts of countries and is pally with a man who straight up wants to take over countries in charge of major parts of your digital infrastructure is generally not ideal, despite not being in the EU anymore. The UK should take a leaf out of the EU's books. However, the UK government is and has been corrupt, technologically inept, and generally unwilling to listen to experts or civil servants when they tell them something is a bad idea.
I had a discussion with some teenagers recently who were all prepared for this bill. I was quite surprised that they knew a lot about it. They said, "Don't worry, we've worked out how to get around it. Have you heard of VPN?" They said, "Don't worry about it," and showed me VPN.
There's also businesses who, might not want things sent off to some random location for AI processing. Things that are confidential documents, media that they're working on under an NDA, or customer information. Things data brokers want, but companies might want to keep on the down low for obvious reasons. And on top of that, there's charities, foundations and activist organisations. A lot of them might have an adversarial relationships with the government, corporation and various other groups. I don't think data brokers, for example, should be taking information from Greenpeace and giving it to oil companies. I don't think brokers should be taking data from Amnesty and giving it to the Home Office or foreign governments. I don't want LGBT groups having data taken from them and given to anti-trans groups. I believe these are the organisations who would most benefit from digital sovereignty by far because they're trying to do things that a lot of very powerful people want to stop.
What is to be done?
I think we should have more awareness of digital sovereignty issues, not just for Joe Public or Guy Businessman, but also for governments too. The thing is, a lot of governments don't really like the idea of us not having all our data hoovered up for them and their friends to buy. But here's the thing. A lot of subnational units crave autonomy, have differing views on the government, and perhaps want their data to be better controlled by them rather than their centralised overlords. I'm talking about places like Scotland, Wales, Catalonia, the Basque Country, Greenland, the Faroes, US cities and the like. Here in Scotland, it doesn't matter if you're nationalist or unionist. Generally, we like our autonomy and doing shit our own ways. So the idea of being able to have full control over our government data and our shit separate from the UK should really appeal to us. Isn't that right, First Minister? Now give me back my rights, you fucking baldy bastard!